All right, I'm happy to introduce you all to Sheldon and Sam from Paws, Claws, and Tails. They're a wonderful daycare and boarding facility that is just south of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Welcome. I brought you on today to just help people understand or become aware of some of the things that we've done together, and provide them some feedback on what your experience has been like, working with myself and No Dog Left Behind for business consulting and so forth kind of stuff. So to begin with, you can tell me a little bit about, how long you guys have been in business and, what kind of services you offer. Obviously, I mentioned boarding and daycare, but anything else that you guys have in the bucket?
So we do grooming, and then we have our transportation, and what else do we do?
Well, we do boarding, transportation, grooming, and then our daycare priority mostly. But then we started to add on into daycare and training. So that's been really a new adventure for us, and it's been very exciting so far.
Yeah, for sure. So how long have you guys been running Paws, Claws, and Tails?
So we've been here since June 15th, 2020, but Carrie and Jim started it back in 2013. So
okay, so it's about, a 9-year-old business, but you guys have had it for a couple of years?
Yeah.
Just coming up here pretty soon to the 2-year anniversary.
Seemed to fly by, actually.
Well, you've passed the honeymoon period. You're still together with the business. So here we go. It's all...
Yeah. We made it.
That's right. Okay, so before we began working together, what kind of challenges were you guys facing? Or, what kind of motivated you to reach out for some assistance or support?
So we definitely had quite a, it was doing our daycare and boarding. We definitely had quite a, I'd say, chaotic daycare.
Yeah, it was really chaotic.
It was, and the staff, we had brought back the original old staff, and everybody seemed to have like different training with different ideas on how to handle dogs. And we just realized that we kind of wanted to bring that chaos all together. And we originally, when we heard about how how your facility ran and stuff, we did a reach out, and we just wanted to bring the team in to kind of get everybody on the same page. So that was really exciting, and we did that because we didn't go in expecting a lot, and we came up with so much more tools. At the end of the day, it was like a huge benefit for our daycare and our facility. And
we went in there just to mainly iron some things out, not realizing how big some of the chaos was.
Yeah, well, sometimes you don't know how much influence and impact things will have until you've integrated it, right? So you're like, it's possible for it to be like this. Oh, cool. Because your frame of reference might not be as broad, right? So I remember when we got together for that staff training seminar at our facility, where it was just, hey, here's some tips and tricks and insights onto how to keep the peace in your daycare. Things were already going well, but you're like, what, we'd like to get everyone on the same page so they're doing things the same way, because we're having varying results depending on who's on. And that was, what you brought me in for. And then, you got what you got out of that.
And that week following too, we started implementing just the quiet times or the break times throughout the day, and that made the biggest change. Just in a week, it was insane. Just the small little things that we took from that made the biggest difference for us.
For sure. And it becomes an accumulation of tweak, and you start being like, oh, we implemented these 3 to 5 things that were not necessarily that much work to implement, but just proactively things are just a lot more relaxed and calmer. Ah, that's nice.
Yeah.
What's interesting actually is I'm going to be recording a big video about that exact seminar that I provided you. So I can help other people out without me actually having to be there. But anyways, side note, got distracted.
No.
So that's exciting. Anyway, okay. So then that's how we kind of started. And then we got into some business consulting after that. Do you happen to remember how we got there? I can't recall why you had reached out, but or if...
I think I
can't. I actually don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember why. I think we were going along with the training, and then we had talked about, because you'd mentioned some business side of things when we were at the facility. You about how to handle the dogs easier in the daycare, and then you mentioned a few business tips with them, and then it kind of like it
Snowballed from there.
yeah, snowballed from there, where we're like, well, he really knows what he's talking about. So we had a few phone call conversations back and forth, and then you're like, well, do you want to jump into some business consulting, because I think it could help you guys out a lot. And that was huge, because the business consulting not only brought safety in the facility a little more, it also helped our business exponentially grow. So that was really exciting to do. The consulting was almost just as important as doing the handling and training, if not more.
Well, for sure. And one of the big things that I recall anyways, and is the how the consulting really, I think, assisted with more business security.
Yeah.
And predictability of revenue, because I remember it was pretty variable for a time with you, like 1 month was X and 1 month was Y, and you're like, how do we get it to be more consistent? And that was one of the first things that we tackled together was, figuring out how to make consistent revenue and then just build more and more on top of that. So we avoid the fluctuations, and we started a similar baseline, but then we just continue to add and then exponentially grow.
Yeah,
so
we had
one thing.
Vision, and like
Yeah,
we weren't looking at like how we could like we were stuck on boarding, so we weren't like focusing on like how we could grow the daycare. We were just stressing about, oh, like everything sucks with boarding right now.
Yeah, it was just like a kind of like we're crossing our fingers to get business. And then I remember you were saying like, no, you shouldn't be like playing on the weather, whether it's going to be a good season or not. You can go out there and get the work if you just, tweak a few things in your company.
Shift your focus.
And then that really helped us, because that definitely created that revenue at the start of every month that we needed to be seeing to maintain, our staff and everything on board with us.
Right.
So that's
Don't let the season be the reason.
There we go. Don't let the season be the reason.
Well, and it was just partly what I was trying to help instill. And I mean, I've learned this from coaches of mine, and I've taught people this too, is like, we have actually a lot more ability to create the results that we want than we think we do, right? And that was just me trying to help you expose to you guys that, well, actually you have a lot more control of the, clients that come through your doors than you may feel like you don't, right? If we become more strategic and we learn how to market effectively and kind of tighten up all sides of the fence, it's like we just get more and more and more, and we can choose it a lot more than just hoping and crossing our fingers and toes that like maybe it'll be a good month.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So
Relieved a lot.
I'm sorry.
Relieved a lot of stress in that aspect.
Yeah, for sure, because it's tough to, we have a good month and you're like, okay, next month's going to be another good one. And then it's like a quarter of what it was. And you're like, oh my God. And it's just that's a heavy weight that I've carried too. And I'm sure like most business owners have. So it's really nice when you can learn how to get out of that kind of trap and that never ending cycle of, this is our revenue. It's like, what if our revenue is like this? Well, I like that more. As most people do. So then, since we've been working together, what has been the result that you or your team has experienced, within my program?
I could go on for like hours. I feel like there's so much.
That's fine. Let's do it.
Like just the way that our the facility is way less chaotic, and I don't know.
There's a lot of different, we've got a lot of different handling techniques out of you. So definitely a lot of preventatives before incidences occur, which is huge.
Yeah.
Then the getting our dogs on in a regular schedule for their daycare made it a safer place. That also helped with revenue. Then, there was the, making sure that we're keeping residual customers happy and coming back to the doors and stuff like that. We worked through that with you quite a bit. And then also with team building and helping our staff understand the same vision, and then we could implement that to them. So when we started breaking down how our team can all work a little bit better together, and then giving them the same outline, so we're all on the same page on how you're doing your bookends, how you're scheduling your dogs, and how we're going to keep pets coming in every month, and then how we're no longer doing this random. It's no longer like a cross our finger guessing game. And then those are just some of the business, and then a lot of it was a lot of the training and handling. So we have a lot more attention to detail when it comes to dealing with our pets before.
And the steps we take before, just like, we don't shove anybody into daycare. There's like a process before.
And we're not desperately grabbing
Systems.
at systems. And we're not desperately grabbing at customers or whoever. We can be really picky and choosy about who comes in and who plays and who does what. And it's made for a way less stressful daycare, and it's just made for a better environment for the staff and everybody.
It's also nice to like have somebody that like is in the industry like that. You just get it. Like, you've gone through a lot of the same stuff that we're going through now. So it's like, I don't know, you just get it.
Well, basically what I'm kind of hearing you say, and you can, you know, confirm or deny, but it's like, you know, there's a support system, you know, beyond just the like obviously like tactical, like, hey, and strategic things to do, but there's also like a support of a community of like-minded professionals where we can lean on each other to, you know, get some assistance or just listen or understand what we're actually going through. So for us, that's been something that we've both done for each other, even though, you know, primarily I'm in more of a coaching role. We still go back and forth being like, this is really hard, A, B, and C. And you're like, it is, I get it. And like, because it can be pretty difficult as an entrepreneur running a business to not feel like you're isolated and alone and struggling with some things that aren't on that uncommon, but no one ever talks about them. And everyone's kind of got their head down doing their own thing in their business, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly it.
So then also, you know, from our work together, there was some team building tips, right? Like developing vision within yourself, but also your team on how to, you know, encourage them to like be interested and have buy-in and really want to progress with the business as you grow. And then there's also like tactical handling stuff of how to work with the dogs to prevent issues. And if things do get spicy, how to referee them and de-escalate them with efficiency while no one gets hurt, humans included. You know, along with like marketing in a way that preps you to 1 to 3 weeks in advance for, you know, you filling out stuff where it's not last minute and have your fingers crossed being like, are we going to fill up this program? Are we going to be able to pay the staff at the end of the month or whatever, right? I think those are the big ones. I'm not sure if I'm missing any, but.
Oh, those are the major, like.
Oh, those are the major ones, yeah. And those are definitely the ones that have definitely help grow out here. So it's super important, and really thank you for done so far and helped us with, because it has been huge. And it's nice to talk to professionals and get the insight and be in those business meetings with everybody else to hear back and that feedback from everybody else too in the group, especially through the dog training. As the other companies talk about some of the issues and things they run into, that's like invaluable information that other entrepreneurs need to hear, I think, no matter what. You know, so you should be
For sure
getting into that just so that you can hear the insight of what other companies go through and how they handle those situations.
Well, and like kind of what I'm trying to do is bring a unique kind of perspective and community together of these like-minded professionals where we are more collaborative than like competing.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, we can be friends. We can all win. I'm not taking anything away from you and you're not taking anything away from me. Like, we're in this together, because there's been numerous times where, you know, we refer people back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's like win-win. This wins for you, that wins for me, but we're all friends. So no one's trying to step on anyone or get in the way of anyone progressing. We're here to help support each other grow. And adopting that mindset, I think, for everyone in the group too, in the program, has really benefited them. And I've heard it numerous times, but because they've said, like, I've never been in an environment like this where everyone's so supportive. You know, it's like, no, don't ever talk to those people because they're going to take business away from us. And like, well, are they? Or what if we could have a win-win? What if we could work to each other's strengths and help each other and have a good relationship and we all win? What about that?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what, and that's like huge. I didn't expect that added bonus, but that's a huge added bonus. Have that win-win relationship with other companies around the area too. Like, it's super nice to talk and strategize like that, because we've sent customers back around to what we're doing. We send customers to other grooming facilities and stuff like that.
Right.
Working more in a circle with each other, and when it doesn't feel like we're at each other's throats. You know,
Yeah, it's like harmonious. It's like, what's the word? Holistic almost, right? Like where everyone's kind of chipping in. We're in the same community. We're just trying to help each other out, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I guess I have a question now, but it's kind of, we might have just answered it, but we'll see. The one question was, were there or are there any unexpected results or surprising benefits that you didn't foresee, from us getting into this program together? I mean,
and just like that, like we didn't think anything was wrong, but there, like that was like the initial, I guess. And now it's just like the community and like working.
Oh, the extra additive benefits that you have given us, like the bonuses that we didn't realize were there, were definitely the relations with other businesses. That's huge. And then the extra added bonuses are like keeping that the business staying ahead every month and going back. Like there's so many extra. When you say it like was there any extra? I feel like every single thing you helped us with has been above and beyond extra. So
Yeah.
that's like your extra. It's phenomenal with all the help you've given. So
well, I thank you for that. I mean, I really do try, right? Like any single way that I can foresee that I could be of assistance when I'm working with, clients, business clients, or just dog training clients or whatever. It's like, hey, what if you tried this? Like, I think this would be really helpful. So I'm grateful that it's well received, but also that you guys see the benefit of it, because I really do try hard to give as much value as I can and try my best to ask for a little in return, other than, obviously sometimes an exchange of value. But anyways, all right, that sounds amazing. What would you, if someone was on the fence of being like, hey, like I kind of feel like I'd like some help, or I want to start learning to be a dog trainer, or our business is doing pretty good in boarding and daycare, maybe it could be better, or maybe we're having issues. Like if someone's on the fence being like, yeah, maybe it could be beneficial, from your perspective now and where you were, what do you think you would tell someone like that?
Oh, I would say, yeah, I'd be like, you're not moving. You're not going to be
you're not going to be moving forward.
You're not going to be moving forward as fast. You can exponentially grow. Like, jump off the fence. Don't be hesitant with it, because the sooner you get on board with this, the sooner you'll see the results and the outcome.
And just because you think there's nothing wrong doesn't mean there isn't.
Yeah, even if
maybe you're not looking in the right, like you're not looking at it properly, I guess.
Yeah, even if you're coasting on like neutral and you're thinking, well, it's kind of doing fine. If you want to grow and you want to see those different results, and you're looking for that, and as entrepreneurs we always do, to push yourself off the fence, put yourself a little bit more uncomfortable, and go get out there and get that extra training and assistance, because the program that you've offered has been huge for us. So I'd be like, well, you're almost stupid not to.
I know it's tough though. Like after the fact, it's, retrospectively, it's like, oh yeah, like this was totally worth it. But sometimes it's really difficult for people to see the potential value in the moment, because lots of times people are a little bit scared or unsure or afraid, right? Sometimes people have to be backed into a corner where things are really bad for them to take the leap, because they're like, well, I got nothing to lose at this stage of the game. Like, let's try. And that's where sometimes people that are like doing pretty well are like, no, we're good. We got this. And it's like, well, but there might be holes that you're missing, or your ceiling might be a lot more lower than you thought. And when I say ceiling, I mean like in a fixed mindset of like, this is just what we do, and this is how we get more money. It's just more dogs in care. And like having that outside, consulting or awareness, or different set of eyes can really change that perspective. Like, for example, I've done it with myself numerous times, but I've seen you guys do it, is like you keep shattering that imaginary ceiling of, for example, monthly revenue.
Yeah.
And I remember it was only a few months ago, I'm like, so what are you going to do, in the next few months for revenue? And you're like, this. And I'm like, come on, you could do more than that. And you're like, could we though? I'm like, I think so. Why not? What do you got to lose? And then it took you, I think, a couple of months, but then you've consistently hit that target that you wanted to, which seemed like a real stretch before. And now you're like, well, now we're just meeting it. So where's the next like level? And it's like, well, it's wherever you can dream up. And that's the beauty. That's what I really like to try to help people and inspire, is like, there is no ceiling.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what you've done.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
We can hear you in our head too. Sometimes Sean will be having like a sayings like floating around the room, like, that's it, that's all you're gonna do, that's, put a bigger number down.
Yes. Well, someone affectionately, or not so affectionately, I don't know, labeled it as like WWDD. What would Derek do?
Derek do.
I was like, oh, okay. I was like, fair, that's cool.
What would Derek do in this situation?
So in this situation, what should I do? What would Derek do? And I was like, well, that's kind of fun. But anyways, I appreciate you guys on many levels as humans and friends and, associates and partners in the industry and stuff. So I'm excited to continue to work with you, and both of us continue to exponentially grow and progress. So thanks for taking the time to do this with me, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. We appreciate you a lot. Thanks for all your help.
My pleasure. Till next time.